everybody, welcome back to the Bill and Ray Show. I'm out in the torch shop. I'm going to make another marble. Today it's a bit of a hodgepodge. I got a couple different ideas that I wanted to play around with. I've got my sophisticated notes here, which I probably won't let me see this. Probably won't stick to the script, but I'll try. I write all this stuff up and think about it, and then when I actually get going with it, I get kind of caught up in the process, so we'll see. But I did some prep work. I'm going to run through a little quick video of some of the prep work that I did. Just pulling stringers. So one thing, I kind of had a little variation. I love these fumed elements in the core of the marble. And I thought, well, I haven't done this spiraled on sort of a deal. I thought, well, I could try that. So, we'll see. You gotta watch me screw up. Or not. Okay, we're gonna get a short section warmed up. And we're gonna hit it with some silver first, but we're gonna just do a lopsided silver approach. So just on one side. And then we are going to kind of cook that silver in. So trying to cook it in without burning it out. Okay, that got the rod pretty toasty, so we've got to wait a little minute before we do the gold. And with the gold, we're going to run all around. Okay, we got a whole buttload of, excuse me, of fuming on there. Now, tricky step. See if I can do what I want here. A little bit of controlled chaos. Oops. See, my controlled chaos has gone out of control. Well, got a little wiggle in there that not what I wanted, but that's what we get. So some of that initial pulling out some stringers and so on is part of kind of warm-up exercises so that when you do the important stuff like what I just did, you don't make such a mess of it. So we want to heat that in. Okay, now this piece I actually want to be a little skinnier, and so we're going to pull this out and twist it up a little bit more. And I'm kind of hoping that that silver that went on first will show some asymmetry. I don't know if it's gonna, it doesn't really look like it right now. So we're trying to kind of wind this up. No, I think we got some variation there in the fuming. Okay, I kind of like this end better. So we're just going to leave that attached to this rod to apply that in a minute. Now, another element. I'm going to try this Roswell green as an internal component, and this be just a little twisty cane. Most greens are not really suitable for deep encasement inside a marble. They tend to crack the glass. So this glass is supposed to be a little bit more stable than some of the greens, and it's also going to be pretty little bit of it. It's going to be a small amount of it stretched out. So I need a little round paddle here. Something kind of like that. And we'll heat up those chill marks. Now this is going to get some gold fume on it. It's another part of my experiment of the day. And this color starts off green and turns red, orange, whatever it is when it's hot. It kind of cools down a little bit. See if this will grab onto some gold. I'm just kind of curious what gold fume on this color is going to do. And then we are going to add cobalt on one side. And this is just kind of a basic cobalt. It looks pretty dark, but it's not a... Well, it's just kind of a medium plain cobalt. So this we want kind of a similar layer of glass. And we're going to just drop it on here, kind of squish it on. So we kind of squish that out. And on the other side, use a different clear. So then we're just going to put clear on the other side. And again, we'll just try and gather up a bit and blob it on. Now, as often as... Oh. Didn't expect that. Alright, come back here, you silly thing. Boy, it looked like it just didn't really stick to the gold fume. Try this again. We'll forego that application and we'll stripe it on. Get a little more heat. It's all good. Okay, we got our green glass in the core, clear on one side, cobalt on the other. Then we're going to trap it with some more clear. So we'll leave the edge alone. So we're kind of make a little ribbon cane, but it's going to be pretty small, pretty thin. Okay. And handle on this end. An even tighter flame here. Just a little wee bit of ribbon cane. Trying to get it to start twisting. A lot of ribbon canes, I like to try and get it rounded up and then barreled out, and then we can get more control over the actual pulling it out. Switch hands here so that I'm more familiar with it. I usually pull it out to my left. And that flame is too aggressive. Okay, and then there's going to be cut off this end, so whatever kind of funkiness is there at that end, we're just going to lose that. Okay, well, I think that is all the prep steps. I already had some black stringer that I'm going to use in the background. Okay. So, we'll move on to our main build rod that we work from, the clear glass, little heavier rod that'll become the front lens and the bulk of the marble. Clean off some of this sharp edge where it starts boiling as it's heating up. Yeah, it sometimes happens. So you try and add glass onto a fumed, especially seems like gold fume. You gotta get the heat, you gotta make sure the heat is up there high enough to actually get it to stick. It tends to want to just not really fuse together. So I'm going to apply that fumed piece first. And we're going to do kind of a simple spiral on, and then do a little bit of compression on that. So it's going to be a little tricky to do this where you can see what's going on. So I need a pretty large gather on the end to start with to draw on. Yeah, I hope you all are doing great. We're looking forward to the fair. We start setting up a couple days. So once again, if anybody's watching this real time, more or less, I won't be doing a video this next week. At least not one of these videos. Let's see if we can pull off some video from the fair. So it's always a bit of a scramble to get all our product together, our labeling, our pricing, displays, and then all just the other stuff that we need to get her done. So we'll start out taking down our tables and canopies. The backdrop, I've got some bamboo rolled up. Well, one's like a window blind, the other's more like a garden screen. Put that in the back of the booth. Lets the wind kind of blow through it, but keeps pretty much a barrier. Backdrop to our booth. Try and get the torch bench set up. Get a bunch of electrical stuff going. We have a lot of electrical stuff to hook up. Okay, now I'm going to apply this fume thing in a spiral. Trying to keep this with a little bit of a gap there. Okay, I didn't really think I was going to use all of that, but why not? I'm going to run with that. So I'm kind of curious to see what that spiraled fume thing looks like. It's somewhat different than putting stripes onto the fume rod and then twisting it up. May not really look much different at the end product. So we're heating up this whole end. Much cooler morning the last couple mornings. Changes in the air. Looks nice. Okay, now you could just like run with that. But oh no, we gotta do something weird. So it may not be the best idea, but we're gonna go weird. So we're going to do basically kind of a compression cycle. See if we can get this edge to curl around. So kind of hanging it down and trying to focus our heat right on this rim. Sometimes this outer rim just doesn't want to quite move the way I'd like it, but I'll give this a couple tries. So, and we'll go press this again a little. I did seem to turn the corner on that outer rim of the fuming. So that's good. And we can start directing the heat a bit more towards the core. Hold it kind of more level, or if not, shift up a little bit and get that core to come together. tends to get this little recessed pocket in there. So some of that we address by these pressing cycles. Real gentle there. Now we're going to actually try and get this to draw out as much on its own as we can. Then we're going to start rolling it to a cone shape. So with all that fuming in there, this type of a marble, I still kind of consider it a Vortex marble, but it probably won't allow you to see into the depths in a way that makes it look like your typical Vortex marble. Pull this out. Letting that drawn out tip condense back on itself a little. So we don't do a lot of forming there. Quiet down this torch. There we go. Okay, now we're going to apply this other cane that we did. See what this looks like in the background. Oops. Hey, it's napping. All kinds of strange stuff going on here today. That's okay. Okay, now we need to mount that in and use our paddle to kind of tuck these ends down. Sometimes I try and rotate this around so that the angled cone is more facing the flame. Alright, we'll get this pretty well incorporated, and then we'll do a little gentle marbling. When marbling like this, I'm moving the paddle along with the turn so the pressure is not sliding, trying to twist it one way or the other. And maybe we'll pull just a little off the tip here. Like I say, I don't know if you're going to see, maybe around the edges you'll see down into there. Okay, next, who's next? I think we need some red frit. Get some dynamics going here. Oh, we've got open. So this is going to be just enough red frit to make an impression without building up too much. And keep it in spots. So get our glass good and hot, come down here into the frit, take the roll. Once you get that first roll, the heat's kind of losing it, and you're not going to pick up much more. But that is going to be plenty. Red's a little gentle. This is a lot of heat. It's wind up showing a little bit of signs of overcooking. I debated at this point whether to fume anything onto there or not at this stage. And my last thought that I was going to just not bother doing the fuming. I think it might actually distract and detract from what's going on here. So now I'm just going straight into some black. So we're just going to build a layer over the entire back side. Start out by butting one wrap right up against the next. For some reason, I don't really care to do that all the way down. There's some subtle reasons, but I step away from that and leave a gap. As you get out here towards the tip, you get a lot more heat built up, and it's a lot easier to lose, overheat and lose the detail in the tip, which, like I say, in this marble you won't necessarily be looking all the way down to this end. But this way, when I come back in again, a lot of the flame is kind of being deflected by the glass that you already laid down. So it's not getting the heat all the way into the base glass as easily at this point. Because the flame is literally being bounced off of it. And I just kind of keep coming in here, filling in these spaces in between. And at this point you get quite a bit more heat onto what is now the black layer, and you are no longer disturbing the glass underneath. Anyway, it may seem a little messy, but it's just what I do. Now I can use a little pressure, squeeze that layer of glass down, fill in any nooks and crannies, and push up bubbles if there are some bubbles to get rid of. Looks pretty clean. Now sometimes this very end gets some light coming, some light pollution comes in through the end. I don't really like that, so add a little bit more black glass to the tip. Make sure that's sealed off. Okay, now after that layer, then I think maybe I can fume. I think I'll do silver. And now for something completely different, which anybody's been following these is not my usual pattern here. I'm missing a piece of glass. That's something different. So what I want to do is build this out in dots. Before I do that, trying to mark. So I'm trying to get some markings that are equidistant. Kinda, sorta. Okay. Now, if I had a big fat rod, this would probably make more sense, but we'll just run with what we've got here. So we're going to start off gathering up some glass and setting down some large pillows of glass. Yeah, it's looking like something out of the Matrix. So we can only just do so much at a time, and we're going to heat that in. And hopefully we're starting to distort the shape of the interior. So basically, just instead of building up a consistent layer of clear to round out the end, we're going to play around with some geometry tactics by just adding selective positioning of the clear. And this first stage is going to be kind of the most, not the most time consuming, but kind of the most dramatic of getting things started in the right direction. It's probably the toastiest stage. There's a real desire at this point to hit it with the marble mold, get it to round up, but I'll try and stick with this heat. I'm just using the heat to transition the shape. At some point, though, I'm going to give up on being a purist here, but if we wait a moment for this to kind of heal up before we go pushing things around, and we'll use the marble mold to just do a little coaxing. Okay. Well, we can kind of rinse and repeat that process. But now we can be a little bit more selective with putting some glass here and there. Kind of a process of showing the difference between color and clear, the way it behaves when it moves. And as long as there's a separation between clear in the color, the glass will move. If you cross over and cover everything with clear, it won't move the same way. So we're leaving gaps where the color is exposed. We had a monthly, I guess it's basically sort of a monthly trip to Missoula yesterday, and took recycling to our one recycling center we have up there, and went out to lunch, a wonderful lunch, Mackenzie River, and then we hit Costco, which is the main reason we head to Missoula once in a while. Stock up on all those things that Costco's got a good deal on. So I've been a member of Costco for a very long time. The company I worked for at the time that Costco first started in Kirkland, Washington, they worked a deal where they could get membership cards for all the employees. So when they started out, you had to be a business to be a member. And then they kind of switched it up so they had business membership and general public membership, kind of two separate things. And Washington being a sales tax state, if you have the business membership and you went there on a Tuesday, I think it was, or Thursday maybe, then they didn't charge anybody sales tax, and it was on you to claim it, to charge sales tax, or if it was for purely business use, that's on you as to how you account your bookkeeping. But a lot of product, small mom and pop restaurants, whatever, they buy stuff for the restaurant, and basically it's then they have sales where they charge the sales tax. Anyway, I've been a member for a very long time. And they do have some very good deals that are hard to beat. So definitely people that complain about all these prices going up. There's a few things like coffee, I don't know, to a degree, peanut butter, cheese. Things that really haven't changed price in the last 15 years that I can see. Okay, I think we're getting to the point where we can do our backside color. If you leave it like that, that's, I don't know, kind of weird. Fumed black has turned to kinds of gnarly things. Oh, man, it's warming up. Need more fan power. Okay, even though this looks really weird on the back side, I'm going to attempt to do a pretty much normal process here, the way I usually do the color. Alright, so we did butterscotch or tan, one or the other there, and then sparkling blue, and now we got some red. Sometimes I really contrast the interior and the back, but this time I'm kind of tying in a red theme both sides. So our commercial beehives we have on the property, they pulled most all the supers off with the honey last week or whenever. And yesterday I was working on the hot tub, draining it, replacing a circulation pump and refilling it. And I was surprised. I had some bees over there just trying to get in my business. Usually we've had them pretty well trained to just leave the hot tub alone. You can train bees, even from season to season. They retain knowledge of where to go and what to do. I'm sure the science community would say they must be leaving chemical signposts. Maybe they do. They were being a little pestery yesterday, and I had to help a couple of them that fell in the drink and get them up onto a cloth and on their way. That's some years ago. One of the few times either one of us has been stung, but Ray was trying to help one out of the pond or something, and she was just using a bare hand. Well, it stung her, which is a bummer on both sides, because it hurt her, obviously, but it's also the demise of the bee. When it stings, it dies. Unlike other nasty wasps and different critters, bees use stinging as a last resort. At least the honeybees that we have. I don't know if that trait is shared amongst all bees. And then after I was done with things, I was kind of noticing it out on the hives. One of the hives was bearding like crazy, where the bees all kind of cluster on the outside of the hive. Which they may have even been thinking about swarming, I'm not sure. And there was one other hive. They've got a collection of hives out there. One other hive, there's just a lot of frantic, crazy energy around its entrance. I'm not sure what was going on with those guys. They're acting like they sometimes do when it's super hot weather, but it wasn't that hot. But I think they were going through some stuff, adjusting the hive to different circumstance with all their honey been robbed. I feel bad sometimes. They work so hard to make the honey, and then somebody comes along and swipes it all. There's a little disturbance in the force in B there. Okay, Tatsy. Well, I think maybe you'll be able to see down into the depths of this marble. That'll be cool. It's always kind of an unknown when you put a bunch of fume effects in the core. If they're going to be too dense and obscuring. A bit of a challenge to visualize being on center here. That punty attachment is probably not in quite the best spot, but the circumference with that three-fold filling effect, it kind of pulled it. It's not a very straight line. So visually it's a little weird trying to build up this clear. Just thinking about the changing weather. So Ray showed me a picture on Facebook. I guess somebody, I'm not sure where they were in Montana. They'd gotten I think it was Montana, where they got a good shot of snow. He was basically posting, it's like, well, garden's done for this season. Which may or may not be quite true. Depends on really what the temperatures were like. But certainly for your delicate plants, a little snow on top doesn't do them any good. We do a great job growing weeds here. Not such a great job growing vegetables, but we just, don't have the time, the energy to be out doing the weeding it would really take to, well, and then just pest control, both insect and rodent. It's a lot to try and keep up with here. Coming off the tweezers too nice. Yeah, the real trick with a marble like this is, what the heck am I going to call it? You get caught up in the process. Sometimes I actually do have kind of an end result that I'm thinking about, but usually make the marble and then try and figure out what the heck am I going to call it. Well, the years doing glass, and I used to make little frogs, pendant frogs, and people sometimes be like, oh, look at that cute little fish. Like, clearly looks like a frog to me, but I'm not going to argue with the customer if they think it's a fish. So whatever I name it, it's just a suggestion. It's whatever you want it to be. It's always intriguing when it comes to sort of abstract art. People relate to it depending on, if it's a surgeon, he sees something that he would encounter in some kind of surgery, and if it's a botanist, think of it as some sort of a flower or a plant that they recognize, or whatever their interests are, that kind of tends to influence what they see. And YouTube is kind of pushing for the clickbaity thumbnail and title and stuff, and Unfortunately, YouTube pushes a lot of creators in directions they aren't necessarily wanting to go. My marble videos clearly don't have enough anxiety and controversy to them to draw tons of random attention. So I sure appreciate any of you all who do come by and take a look, sit for a spell and watch some glass being made. One thing about this Red Max torch is it will throw some carbon chunks. Alright, well, now it's just kind of down to the shaping it up. See if we can make a sphere. One of the important things in making a marble is that it be round. So we endeavor to make that happen. It usually takes a step or two. When I started doing marbles, I would switch back and forth on punties a whole bunch of times. My process is kind of down to a minimum number of transfers. Good thing about now to take a glance at the kiln and make sure it's up to temperature. Every once in a while, I go in and finish a marble and forgot to turn the kiln on, and I'm all done for it, and it's like, oh man, now I gotta screw around for 20 minutes in the flame waiting for the kiln to heat up. And the ribbon cane, that Roswell green, should show up on the edges. Hopefully, it might still have been covered with fume. Really that good of an impression of whether the fume had burned off from the edges or not. One thing I could have done with that before I fumed it would be to add just a little thin bit of clear around the edge and protect that, because the fume will burn off the clear easily. Okay, well, this is shaping up pretty well. So we're just going to give this a moment in the mold and pull some heat out of it. And back in and do a little heat cycle to basically kind of plane polish and make sure we're smooth on this back side. And then we're going to pause and let things solidify. Cool. This is going to be a nice marble. The structure looks good. Hopefully the colors pop. Okay, see if you can keep this to the point where you got the outer skin is ready to move, but the core of the marble is still intact. Down from the back side, come up to the front face. Oops, wrong way. Yeah, trying to judge that heat where it's hot enough to move just on the surface and not penetrate too much heat into the core. Okay, so that's got the kind of the rim part of it. It's pretty good, but it, you know, you introduce a lot of wrinkles. And that very front face has got some concentric wrinkles. So every time you go back into the marble mold, you're going to just get probably some more marks in it. I mean, the basic idea is you wait a moment before you hit it in the marble mold and let it skin over. But I'm also just happy enough with the overall shape, so right now I just need to smooth it out, and that will happen just fine with heat and rotation and maybe a cycle. So you come out of the flame, let it settle down. Build up too much core heat and then everything starts going wonky, egg-shaped or whatever. Kind of have these pauses to get it to be stable. It's not solid, but it's pretty stable. I think we're about there. Yeah. Well, I sure appreciate everyone stops by to watch these videos. Got quite a few other videos up in another playlist, that some demos, making a hummingbird feeder, pixie orb, cabinet knob, metal marble, some different projects, which I'll try and keep adding to that through this cooler weather season. Okay, so we're waiting for this to get down below the hot glowing stage. Looking pretty good. So I hold this over the marble mold so if it does break free unexpectedly, it'll get caught in the marble mold and not roll around and roll off onto the floor, hopefully. That looks pretty darn good. Excellent. Well, all my crazy visioning in the wee hours of the night, writing down some notes, stuck pretty much to the script. Turned out pretty much the way I had hoped it would. So, in the kiln she goes. We're all set for this week. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. and we will hope to see you again back here for more marbles, or check out some of the other videos, other projects that I'm making. So you guys all take care. Have a wonderful day. Be good. Be kind to everybody around you. Take care of yourself. And we'll see you next time.